This time on a sit down, we're hanging out with one of the heart and soul guys of the Roanoke Rail Yard Dawgs, Matty O'Day from Illinois to the SIJHL, college hockey at Concordia and Western New England, and now carving out a true home here in the Star City. Matt's been through just about every corner of the game. He's been a steady force on the blue line, stepped up to forward when the team needed it the most, and helped the Dogs to a President's Cup title run and a deep run of playoff pushes. Matt, how you doing today?
Awesome. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good. I'm really happy that you're on the show. I'm really excited to get hockey back. It's been a long summer for me, and so I'm ready for some winter sports, a little football, a little hockey action. Man. So you've been with the Dogs for several seasons now. What's your like go-to favorite memory that you have with the Dogs?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's no surprise, right? It's winning the cup. That team was a very special team that year. That group chat is still, buzzing and stuff. Guys are still messaging in it. We all check in with each other. You could definitely say that you gained a couple brothers that season. And, whenever I'm just like floating around hockey town and stuff, I always think back to that. And, it's a pretty cool memory.
Yeah, I mean, what a special team that was. That was our first full season actually getting a chance to cover the Dogs. And I remember just having been a fan for so long, being able to actually like witness it from the other side of that, and that being our first year getting full coverage. It was something to witness. And that team was so special. Can you speak to like the chemistry of what that team was and what made that team so special?
So there's just like a lot of accountability and a lot of familiarity on the team. We had, a lot of guys that really took care of their bodies and made that a priority. And you could tell that, that kind of brushed off on a lot of other guys in the team that maybe not necessarily didn't want to take care of their body, but maybe didn't understand the right way to do it. And so we had a lot of good, like, veteran leadership. And then a lot of guys, the familiarity, we had all been playing together for a couple of years at that point. I mean, I know when COVID hit, pretty much all of the Dogs players went and played in Columbus together. We were making jokes about calling them the River Dogs while we were there and all that stuff. And so being able to go to that team when, I think there was only 4 teams in the league that year. Up in the SPHL, there was only 5 or 6, I believe. So it was really, really limited. So it was cool to see, that we were still all able to end up in the same spot and play together. And I think that played a huge role in that following season, even though we didn't win the championship that year. Getting that experience with that group and then coming back the following year and winning it was I think it all built up into that moment of just us playing together.
So let's backtrack just a little bit and talk about kind of some of your early days. You grew up in Orland Park, Illinois. What was it about hockey that, kind of captured and shaped yourself growing up in Orland Park? I'm sorry,
it cut out for a second there. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Just tell me what it was like growing up in Illinois.
Oh yeah. Where I grew up specifically, it was a pretty highly populated area. So it kind of didn't matter what sport you were going to get into. You were definitely going to see a lot of kids showing up to it and wanting to compete and wanting to play. I remember when I went to my first travel tryout for AA, I think there was 80 some kids on the ice. And I remember skating off or whatever, and I'm asking my dad, I'm like, how are they going to figure out who's actually good out there? It felt like we were all pretty terrible together. And, so that was kind of how it was. And when you grow up with that competitive environment, it's kind of that iron sharpens iron, mentality of, you're going to keep playing against these kids. You're going to keep getting better. A lot of my buddies ended up going up to play AAA, and growing up, I was never good enough to make a AAA team. So getting to play against those guys, that obviously makes you a little bit better. And it was nice because the atmosphere around the rink wasn't toxic or anything like that. We grew up with a lot of really, really good kids that it's not like it would be a stick and puck where they wouldn't pass you the entire time. Like, we were always really good about mixing up teams. And yeah, it's a good environment for everybody and just great all around. Yeah.
I feel like in general that's kind of a hockey vibe. Like with a lot of other sports, it's a lot of, out for yourself, trying to make sure that, in general, like, your stats are better than others. But I feel like hockey's different in that aspect. Can you talk to, how like hockey is a lot different than most other sports.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes a certain level of athleticism that may not be required in other sports. Yeah, and can you just kind of talk about the differences and what you may think and why hockey is different?
Yeah, I mean, so with hockey, they always say you can take a hockey player and put him in any other sport, and he won't stand out nearly as bad as taking somebody from that sport and putting them in hockey. It's a requirement to work on your balance every single time that you step on, even if you want to, mess around with your friends. It's not like any other sport where, you can kind of be straight legged out there and take it easy. It's every single time that you step on the ice, you're working hard, even if you're just playing around with your buddies. And I think you gain a lot of appreciation just because you understand how much time and effort it takes into becoming such a good skater that, the guys that do end up becoming, these phenomenal athletes for hockey players, they understand the hard work that they put in and that they really wouldn't be there without the coaching in front of them. And that there's just no possible way that they could have done it without parent support and everything like that. And I think that that's just preached a lot in the community, is just being thankful for, your parents getting up at 6 a.m. to take you to a Saturday morning skate just because you want to, or that's the only time that your team had available time to get there because of finances, that's always the cheaper ice. And yeah, I think all of that just adds to the appreciation. And I think that's where hockey players kind of get their thankfulness from. And then just like I said earlier, you can't joke around when you're out there. You know what I mean? You have to take it a little bit serious every time you're skating around. Otherwise you're going to slip and fall. And yeah, when you're doing that every single day, you have no choice but to become better and more athletic.
Now, speaking of athleticism, you've demonstrated a ton of it and being able to switch from forward and defenseman and back and forth. What's the difference between the two roles and how do you prepare for, each one? And, is it the same to prepare? Is it different?
Yeah. So it's funny. I obviously get this question a lot and I always kind of refer back to it's all coaching. In our practices, Brems, he does a really, really good job of running systems and stuff. We kind of have a good mentality of, hey, we're here to figure out how we're supposed to play our system, how we want to run it. If you want to do your skill work and stuff, we have before and after practice. We have an insane amount of available ice time. You can do all of your stuff during that time, but learning routes, learning where, hey, I'm supposed to be here when the puck goes here and stuff like that. That's pretty much the same both ways. Obviously it's same, but different. You've got different routes as a defenseman comparatively to a forward. But as far as like the mental preparation of okay, today I'm playing defense. So when I'm angling, I have to use the dots for my angles. Like that's just something that you go through as a defenseman. And it's nice because Brems is one of those coaches that it doesn't matter if it's the SPHL championship final game or game one of the season. He's coming at it with the same mentality and the same amount of energy and focus that he's going to give to his players. So he comes in and he writes on the bulletin board, hey, these are your key focuses of the game. These are what I want. If this is happening out there, he has all these different things drawn up. So, I mean, I definitely have to give a lot of credit to him because I don't really think a lot of other organizations are going to do that from their coach. And if they did, I would be shocked if they were in that much detail. So, yeah, he definitely makes it a lot easier for me to be able to switch back and forth.
And tell me what it's like playing for Coach, because he seems like such an intense person all the
time. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say intense. I like to use the word passionate. I think it sounds a little bit better. And I truly do think that speaks more to who he is as a person. He is an intense guy. You know what I mean? He cares a lot and all that. But I think that it just comes from because he puts so much into our team and the game in general and trying to learn. I mean, he's not just sitting back and watching NHL games every single night, just enjoying himself. Obviously, it's always fun to sit back and eat your dinner in front of the TV, watch a game. But he's somebody he's leaned forward. You know what I mean? And he's looking in the TV to see what we can work on in practice and what these guys are doing to score goals, prevent goals, and how we can adjust to our level and make those kind of same plays and all that stuff. So when he's doing all that and putting that much effort in, and you're seeing him yell on the bench, it's because that week alone he's probably put together close to 100 hours of video clipping and notes and stuff trying to make us better. So that's where all of that comes from.
No, absolutely.
It's great. I love it.
What does a guy like Brimner teach you about leadership? I mean, like you said, he's very passionate. And so a lot of that goes into being a good leader. What has he taught you about leadership? And you're obviously the alternate captain, and a lot of guys look to you as someone who's been there a while.
Yeah. So first and foremost, you can just say that he leads by example. I mean, he's always the first guy to the rink. He's always got everything in order. I've made a couple of jokes with a couple different guys. It seems like Brems is one of those guys that's already gone through life once, because the way that he's prepared for everything and what he does with his routine, it just seems like he's just going through the motions again, that it just comes to him naturally and easy. You know what I mean? So when he's just setting that example every single day of, hey, I'm a coach, I still get up in the morning and work out and write you guys a practice plan. Like, to him, he's already wrote a practice plan, scrapped it, wrote another one, scrapped it, worked out. While he's working out, he's writing another one. You know what I mean? So when he's doing that stuff, and then when you're in a conversation with him before practice and he's like, all right, when we're in the locker room, this is what I need from you. And it's always just, not that he needs you to be a Brems junior in the locker room all the time, but when guys are starting to get towards the dog days of the year and kind of need a little kick in the butt of hey, you're here because you're a passionate hockey player, and you need to be thankful for the fact that you have the opportunity, because there's a lot of kids in college right now that would love to leave their team if they knew that they could take your spot right now. If they knew that they could just get a week into games, they would leave. So him trying to tell us, the right ways of approaching guys and all that. He has a good read on personalities and handling guys differently. And, he's taught all the captains that throughout the years of, hey, with this guy, this kind of personality, he needs to be told like, hey, you need to be quiet and you need to listen and you need to get back in line and work. Other guys, you just have to compliment them. Hey, I really like that you did this, blah, 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 blah. And they'll just keep doing good things, and he kind of dissected that for me, Janney, Ford. I'm sure he did the same for Armstrong back in the day when he was our captain. But yeah, those are all the things that he does, which is kind of a lot. And to him, I'm sure it doesn't seem like that much, but it helps us every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Shout out to Armstrong, though. I do miss him because he would drop mitts anytime, anywhere he would go.
Dude, he was a different beast. You know what I mean? He was Army. There's nobody else really like him in the league, on and off the ice. He as much as I've loved other captains that we've had and all that, I gotta say he's definitely been one of my favorite of definitely my entire life. He's great.
Yeah, and so I guess just to kind of put a bow on that, the Dogs are notorious for having that locker room culture, that tight-knit culture. Is a lot of that stemming from Brems and moving down to you? And how do you guys keep that going? I mean, like you mentioned, there's been so many really good captains throughout the years, and but that mentality has never wavered. It's always been the same.
Yeah. And it starts with, Armstrong, right? It's kind of, we learned from him as to what it takes to be, a captain of the Rail Yard Dawgs. For a lot of us, we've been captains of our college teams, and college comparatively is easy. Guys go to class, guys come to practice, you go home, you're almost too tired to worry about certain guys to get in trouble or anything like that, or worry about, XYZ because it's your college team. A lot of it comes a lot easier. Some guys, that's their goal, is to just make a college team, and they're fine with that. Everybody that comes and plays professional, they're hunting for a spot. They want it. And, I think that Armstrong, being a captain of both his college team and then coming to the Dogs and being captain, he embraced that and kind of just ran with, the fact that everybody already looked up to him. He's a tall guy, so you kind of have to naturally. And he just kind of learned from Brems, playing against Brems, then playing under Brems. And then while he was captain, then Mac Jansen was an assistant captain, so he got to learn from underneath him. You know what I mean? And he's been here ever since. So that culture that Army started, it just kind of trickled to Jansen and just flourished from there. You know what I mean? It was a planted seed that you see that it's grown into what it is today. And yeah, I don't think that there's another locker room like ours. It's hilarious every single year. You always worry about new guys coming in and fitting in, but as long as our core remains here, it's going to continue to be the same, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And, moving on to Roanoke, tell me about, how easy it was to settle in here and, why of all places do you continue to come back to Roanoke?
Yeah. Well, first off, the weather, I'm used to Illinois, Minnesota, Massachusetts winter. So the first winter
Right.
I was here, I don't think we got a single snowflake my first winter. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's great. But yeah, no, it's just, I saw how the hockey community was starting to grow here, especially as the team started to do better. We saw more and more kids showing up to summer camps every single year. And that's kind of what made me really want to stay here is, we went from, I think the one year we had 60 kids show up to a hockey camp. Then we went to the championship, and the next year we had like 140 kids show up, and we were like, how are we going to handle this? We have to do a couple different camps. And now, I mean, like I just told you, I just came from one of the practices. I was at the rink for 2 hours earlier today running a lesson and all that. And yeah, it's just, that's kind of what keeps me around is the youth hockey around here, the weather, the team keeps being competitive every single season. I like going back into the locker room. And yeah, just from all those extra things, I can't imagine going anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place to be, and honestly, the hockey here is second to none. I mean, the Roanoke Rail Yard Dawgs do a great job of running that. Speaking of this year, going into this year, what is the mindset, and what do you think that so far with who is coming back? What do you think this team is capable of?
I mean, every single year, I think as long as Brems is our coach, we have a chance to win the championship every single year. I fully expect to every single season. He's kind of one of those guys that it doesn't really matter what type of players he gets. He's always going to turn them into, the best that they can possibly be. And he has systems that he draws up every day. We practice them every single day. It's hard to, waver away from that when you're a new guy coming in, when he just has so much time to work with you and stuff. So yeah, I think that the sky is, the ceiling for this team. I really like our chances this upcoming season with the guys that we have coming back. I don't want to, leak anything too crazy, but yeah, it's supposed to be a pretty good start to the season. So we'll see. I'm pretty excited about it.
So I do got to ask, who's your favorite team to play against?
Ooh, to play against. I like playing against Huntsville a lot. Those always seem to be the most competitive games. They have a very, very good power play. I love playing against Peoria. A lot of people don't like playing against them, but I think that it's another iron sharpens iron type game. I think their coach over there, Guy Trudel, he's a phenomenal coach as well. And he expects, certain things out of his players that we expect the same of over here. And I mean, you can see it in the last couple of seasons. Every single time that we play them, it's very, very close, very competitive. You're seeing a really physical game. Nobody's really cheating offensively, which is probably one of my favorite things is, you have to earn all of your roles. Nothing's going to be cheeky or anything like that. Nobody's going to cherry pick on you. But it's still going to be very skilled. You know what I mean? It's not going to be stick handling underneath a stick 5-6 times on a one-on-one and sniping the goalie bar down. But there are going to be skill plays of, hey, I have to chip the puck to this area, and if I put it too far from my buddy, he's probably going to get smoked. So there's a lot of nervousness in there that you have to calm the nerves. And that takes a skill in itself, you know what I mean? And it's all over the ice against those guys. So, yeah, I would say them and Huntsville both are probably my two favorite. And I can't say I could choose between the two.
No, you're good. I will say, as someone who never played hockey, because I grew up in the South, it's too warm down here. And I didn't even grow up here where, and even if I did, the Rail Yard Dawgs weren't a thing when I was a kid. I grew up in Virginia Beach on the other side of the state.
Oh, nice.
I've always wondered, when do you know that it's time to drop the mitts?
Usually when somebody starts punching you, that's when you know I have to make a decision here of either I'm going to start punching back or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, you can usually tell there's a certain tone and inflection in people's voice when they speak to you. And then there's obviously certain phrases that you learn in hockey where it's like, well, that literally only means one thing. And yeah, it's either now or never. And then obviously, if you lay a big hit, if you make the crowd go crazy from a big hit, you can pretty much guarantee yourself whoever's coming at you first is probably going to try to punch you in the face.
Yeah, no, I can bet.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those. It's like if it happens to you and you're not really ready for it, you learn pretty quickly to start becoming ready for it. So,
yeah, I think I asked it before we got on, and I do kind of want to double back to it. The President's Cup run. Obviously, you said that was your favorite memory. How did that experience kind of change your, philosophy on hockey, or, did it, change your thought process into how you go into a season?
That season we had a lot of focus on just taking care of our bodies ourselves and away from the rink. We were watching a lot of personal video, and we were doing group sessions with each other where, we were kind of correcting each other, and that season really taught me how, this is the approach you have to have. And if your team's going to have any chance, this is kind of the bare minimum of what you need to do to be able to win. Because, we still went into game 3 with Peoria. The championship series was still very, very close. It still could have went either way. You know what I mean? So it's even with all of these external factors leading into, a positive season and what you view is a really good team, it's it still could possibly not be enough. You know what I mean? So it's these are the things that we have to do every single season of holding each other accountable, working out, at least 3 days out of the week, getting a yoga session in, cold tubbing, doing all these things. It's not if you want to, it's you have to do this if you want to be a championship team. And I think any team that's won it in our league will tell you the same thing. These are all the bare necessities.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to move on to the lightning round and kind of finish things up. I'm going to throw a question at you. Just give me your gut answer. All right.
All right.
What is what is your favorite goal that you've ever scored?
Favorite goal I've ever scored was against Birmingham in their place. It was 4-on-4. We were up 3. It might have been 2-1 or 3-2 at this point, but that put us up by 2 goals against them. I walked on the left side of the circle. The goalie was already hugging the post like this, and there was just a puck-sized hole up there, and put it right there. Really, really hard shot, and it just rattled around there. Whole place went dead silent when I skated past their bench. Nobody was looking up. Everybody's head was down, and it was just oh, this is amazing. As much as it's great to be the hero at home, I love playing the villain on the road. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Who's your funniest teammate?
Oh, gosh. Of all time or last season?
All time.
Oh, man. Josh Nenadal is hysterically funny. Mac Jansen's right there with him, and same with Nick Ford. But man, sometimes when Nens makes a good joke, it leaves you speechless and it makes you fall out of your stall in the locker room. And it's just like, wow, this guy, he's just always firing something off. He's super, super funny.
What is the best hockey movie?
I like Mystery Alaska a lot. I like that one. Youngblood's getting a little dated. So a lot of younger kids don't really like that one, but I think that one's great. But yeah, if I have to pick one, because I can't just say Miracle because that's so cliche, but I like Mystery Alaska the most.
No, that's fair. Go to cheat meal.
Go to cheat meal. Oh, Panda Express.
Oh, yes.
It's unbelievable.
Honey walnut shrimp is like my favorite. I love that stuff.
It's insane, man.
If you had to play in one other city other than Roanoke, what would it be?
I don't want to say anybody in our league. Does it have to be in the SP?
No, anybody.
Oh, okay. Florida Panthers would be nice, sitting in the nice warm weather, or the San Diego Gulls all the way out on the West Coast. I'd like to be south and nice and toasty.
I'm a little hurt you didn't say my Carolina Hurricanes, but I'll forgive you.
Yeah, sorry about that, but not
all right. Well, that's all that I have for you. Thanks so much for joining, Matt. We'll have to get you on again and dive a little deeper next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course.